What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the BallGame podcast. I am the innocent bystander, Matt Sullivan.
I'm Tom.
I'm Chris.
It's our first podcast, changing some things up, and it's our first podcast with a certain somebody in the background. Nick, you obviously can't say hello to everybody because you don't have a mic nor a camera on your face, but Nick is in the back over there
here.
producing pretty much. That's exactly why we have this brand new setup over here where my eyes are going to be shot by the end of the podcast. But regardless, I'm assuming it looks a hell of a lot better.
It actually does. It looks.
Does it?
The stream, it looks way better.
Holy shit.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks way
Holy
better.
shit. It definitely does look a lot better. W Nick. And then obviously today's a football episode. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about, some teams that we actually haven't spoken about much at all to this point in the NFL season, which I'm very excited to talk about. Minus one team. I have not been excited to talk about one of these teams that we're going to be speaking about, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Everyone deserves to be covered. Everyone needs to be spoken about at least a little bit. I guess we start off with what many believe is the best team in the entire NFL. Before we do fully get into it, leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. The Philadelphia Eagles, 10-1, just won another big game, and Jalen Hurts just seems to be cool, calm, and collected no matter the situation, no matter how bad he might have played in the first half. It does not matter. The Eagles have one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league when it matters the most. And I guess I ask you guys this. Are the Eagles your Super Bowl favorites at the current moment? And are they pretty much like the heavy favorites? I guess I'll ask that question. Are they the heavy Super Bowl favorites?
I'll start it off here. I wouldn't say they're the heavy Super Bowl favorites because actually they play the Niners this week at home and they're not favored in that matchup, which is kind
Really?
of crazy. They're like plus 140 something when I saw it earlier.
You said at home?
I'm pretty sure they're at home. Yeah, let me double check. But it's funny. The narrative around the Eagles is so funny to me because we say it all the time, and it's how people say, "Oh, they haven't even played their best football yet. They haven't even played their best football yet." And maybe that's true, but maybe they have. We've kind of seen on the year that offenses as a whole have been kind of lacking, quarterback play in particular, and defenses have been really good, I think, in particular. So maybe this is the Eagles, maybe, and they look like the best team in the league. Without a doubt, they're one of the top teams that are actually beating good teams too.
Yep.
And pulling out good victories. Josh Allen's just cursed in overtime, so you get that guy in overtime. That's a guaranteed W. Doesn't matter who you are. But the Eagles are, I think, who we wanted them to be coming into the year. I mean, they got to be statistically Super Bowl favorites. I'd say if I had to pick a team to win it all right now, I'd probably pick the Eagles. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's no reason why they shouldn't be the runaway favorites right now. I mean, you look at their last 5 games, they beat Miami convincingly, beat Washington, no one really cares about Washington, but you beat Dallas, you went to Kansas City, got your get back, and beat the Chiefs, and then you just beat the Bills in what was the game of the year. And the thing about the Eagles is, you look back to last year, they dominated in the regular season. Would they lose only 2 games last year, if I'm not mistaken? They lost 2 games last year in the regular season. The thing about the Eagles, the pushback was they have a Mickey Mouse schedule. Look at the rest of the NFC East. The Cowboys had an easy schedule. The Giants made the playoffs on the back of their easy schedule, and the Commanders won 7 games because of that easy schedule. Then you look at the first few weeks of this season, you beat the Patriots, one of the worst teams in football, beat the Vikings, who aren't really good, beat the Buccaneers, who aren't good, beat the Commanders, who aren't really good, beat the Rams, who aren't really good. And the Eagles didn't look great. The first game against Washington went to OT. That game against the Vikings in week 2 was a touchdown game. You only beat New England by 5. They weren't playing their best football. They weren't really beating up on anyone who was, towards the top of the league. So there was a reason to have pushback. And Jalen Hurts didn't look like himself. But then over this last 5-game stretch, it's kind of similar where in regards to they don't look that dominant for most of the game. They're not dominating anyone. But when the going gets tough, they find a way to win. And over this last 5 games, they've proven that against some of the elite of the NFL. So I don't really know what other questions to have about the Eagles. I mean, I have this stat. Jalen Hurts this season, when his team is winning, has a 62.5 completion percentage, 1,130 yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a 65.9 rating. When they're losing, his completion percentage goes up about 9% to 71%. He has 1,977 yards, so almost 800 more yards when they're losing. 22 touchdowns, which is 15 more. 1 interception compared to 9, and a 114.1 rating. So Jalen Hurts, I mean, we talked about one guy who doesn't show up when the lights are bright. Jalen Hurts, when the lights are bright, when the team is down, when they need him, this guy is going to show up. And we saw that in this game against the Bills. You know, got shut out for most of the first half. They only put 1 touchdown on the board. And then he goes nuclear in the second half. And it wasn't just him being a tush-push merchant and getting carried by the offensive line. Jalen Hurts was going out there and making plays. He was throwing good balls. Devontae Smith was eating. And, I mean, even in this game towards, you know, in the last drive in the fourth quarter, Jason Kelce got what? 2 false start penalties?
Back-to-back false starts.
Like, so it's not like the offensive line was carrying him, but when the going gets tough and the Eagles need someone to make a play, Jalen Hurts is going to make a play. And honestly, there's maybe one quarterback in the NFL right now that I'm taking over Jalen Hurts when I need someone to go out there and make a play. He keeps proving it time and time again, dating back to his college days. Goodbye, Luka.
Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles should be the runaway favorites right now. They're showing they can win in different ways. They're beating you through the air. They're beating you on the ground. They're beating you with their defense, which their defense hasn't hit its stride yet and hasn't been healthy. You got to expect the Philadelphia Eagles, when things get serious come playoff time, that defense is going to, you know, stiffen up. So, yeah, I mean, the Eagles are the class of the NFL right now, and they should be the runaway favorites.
Yeah, their defense, I have some numbers here. They rank 20th in opponent points per game, 30th in third down conversion percentage. They also get flagged a lot. The offense does. I mean, they are 6th in penalties per game with 5.3. The defense is 3rd with 7.2. So you want to clean that stuff up because in the playoffs, when it's one and done, that can really come back to bite you. But stuff like Jason Kelce getting back-to-back false starts, I don't think he's ever done that in his career. If he has, it hasn't been for a very long time. You have to think he may never do it again. I feel like just by the eye test, the secondary's gotten better over the season. They've also gotten healthier.
They were very beat up.
Bradbury looked good in this game.
Bradbury did have a solid game.
Yeah, he was having a good game. But yeah, I agree. The Eagles are the class of the NFL. They're the team to beat right now.
So, for me, Jalen Hurts is just first and foremost unbelievable. That boy is so special, and we're gonna have to deal with him for years on years.
Yeah,
which is fun as a Giant fan.
Dude.
Very excited. He's also a handsome dude, might I add. Sure. He is a very good-looking human being. Squats 600 pounds. Like what, bro? Jalen Hurts is flawless.
Did you see? I saw an interview with Quinnen Williams, and he said when he first saw Jalen Hurts, he was in the weight room and he thought he was a linebacker. Because he was just squatting like crazy, and then he gets out there and he's throwing the ball, and he's like, "Oh, why is this guy throwing the ball before practice?"
Bro,
and then he starts taking QB reps. He's like, "No way, this kid's a quarterback."
He's like actually built like a fucking truck.
Yeah.
Like as a quarterback, nonetheless. But it's Jalen Hurts, of course. He played this game without Lane Johnson, like who is, you could argue, one of the greatest right tackles of all time. You can even say, and he's still a baller. So. Yeah. That's a big loss. It was obvious that the right side of the line was getting dominated for much of this game too, but Hurts, overcame it. And I'm not going to act like he doesn't have a strong supporting cast outside of that. He does, obviously. But this was a game that required him to play his absolute best in the second half because he played his absolute worst in the first, and then he did so. And it just seems like there's nothing, absolutely nothing that could rattle this guy. Like a lot of people have fake confidence. It's a thing. Like there's fake confidence, especially with some of these quarterbacks out there. Yeah. You'll see fake confidence. Jalen Hurts is a quiet confidence that like near terrifies me. Like if he gets the ball with the game on the line, everyone on that team believes, oh, okay, we're gonna win. Like it's over. They were mic'd up and they were like, oh, we got Hurts. Like we're fine. Yeah. Like all we got to do is get this thing in overtime. Get the defense, just hold them to a field goal, whatever. We got Hurts, so we're good. Yeah. And then he goes down, runs one in. it's special to see what he's become, especially with everything that he had to go through in college, how Tua took over the job from him, and then he transfers to Oklahoma, Heisman candidate, second-round pick, and wasn't even starting his first season. I think he started like 8 games maybe, whatever it was, but then he turns into a superstar, and here he is. But, he's special. Hurts is different. And this Philly team, because of him and a defense that's only going to get better, a pass rush that is the best in the NFL, if not the second best in the NFL. Man, the Eagles are terrifying. And Hurts at the helm, bro. Nah, it's not fair.
On a mission too.
He is.
Everyone's seeing that he has the lock screen of the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl or whatever. But like the guy is dedicated, and
he's the hardest worker on the team.
Yeah, he's the hardest worker on the team, and he is clearly talented enough to get this done. And the tandem threat of him being able to run the football as well, so like timely. Like he does it.
He's playing injured. Might I add.
Exactly. He does it when he really needs to. Like when they really need him to make a play, like he did on the game-winning touchdown. Yeah, he's special, man, for sure. And this Eagles team is just they're
class of the NFL.
Yeah,
this is going to be a telling week right now.
Yeah,
this is a very telling week.
Yeah, against the 49ers.
For both of these teams.
Oh,
for both of these
they're
teams.
plus 126 at home.
Okay, that's crazy.
Which take that. It's free money.
That's nuts. I don't guarantee that.
No,
I would
free
potentially
money,
take whatever the spread is. I would potentially take that. But all in all, I mean, I think you guys have seen the interview that surfaced recently from him prior to the draft, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Where they were like, you're about to go to the NFL, and they're like, you're not going to win as much as you did in college. And he straight up said, oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. Like Stoneface said, oh, we'll see. And I mean, he's 30-4.
I was going to say his 4 losses.
He's like 30-4 as a starter in the NFL, which is pretty much his college record. So all he is a winner. It's that simple. Jalen Hurts is a winner, and the Eagles are lucky to have him.
I just hate when people are like, "Oh, well, he's the best offensive line football." Like, why does him having a good supporting cast take away from what he does?
They have the best GM in the NFL,
right?
Like he did his job.
Like that just doesn't make sense to me because that's what you need to do to get the best out of a superstar player in any sport, but in football with a quarterback, you have to put great talent around him, and the telling of how great a player is how he elevates that talent, and Hurts definitely does that.
Facts. A.J. Brown wasn't as good as he was until he met Jalen Hurts. So
he was really good, but I mean, he's one of the top receivers in the league without question for sure.
Exactly. So,
what a game, man! Shout out to Jake Elliott.
It really was a great game.
Jake Elliott, the most clutch kicker of all time, bro.
That's another thing, bro. Like,
hand me that
is
hoodie. I'm cold now.
Such a weapon when you have a kicker that is automatic, especially in the clutch. Never missed a kick in the playoffs, I believe. They said
I have no idea.
I think that's
but
true.
If that's
He's
true,
never
I
missed
wouldn't be
a
surprised
kick in the playoffs, something like that. Without a doubt, one of the most clutch kickers of all time, like you said. And yeah, that's a true weapon to have. And yeah, they're just head to toe complete.
Do you remember when Jake Elliott nailed a 63-yarder against us?
Yep.
Or I think it was a 63-yarder to win the game like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Bro,
Jeez,
I know firsthand Jake Elliott is him. Jake Elliott is so him.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, all right, we'll go to the other side of this. Buffalo, once again, as you said, Josh Allen can't catch a break in overtime. You know what upset me the most about that? They had the game winner if Gabe Davis didn't fade it to the corner on the – it was an option route, clearly.
I was going to say, I think Romo said it on the broadcast. He was like – or someone said it. You really don't know whose fault that was. Like, it was clearly a miscommunication.
Yeah.
It could have been on Josh. It could have been on Gabe. Yeah, it was an option route. He just threw it to the wrong side.
So Gabe going to the corner there, it just the reason that I don't think it was either one of their
fault. You give yourself less space to catch the ball, right?
And also you had him beat already.
Yeah.
You didn't need to go for a corner route. You didn't need to make a move to beat the guy to catch a over the shoulder pass.
It as if he was going the other way, like towards
Josh threw it. Yes, Josh threw it thinking, "Oh, you already have him beat. Stay there.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it to you." And Josh made some ridiculous throws in this one, might I add. Like
he played nearly perfect except for that pick.
He did.
The one pick.
He played near perfect, and unfortunately, near perfect was not enough.
And I was like, wow, if the Bills win this game, it's going to be such an electric conversation about them.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Nope.
because they fucking lost.
No, it is not.
Josh Allen is cursed in overtime.
He is. And their schedule does not get easy.
No.
It does not get any
I
easier.
think they have the toughest remaining schedule.
In the
I believe
NFL,
they do,
yeah,
yeah.
they do. They do. I wouldn't say they have to win out to make the playoffs, but I don't think they have
6
room
and
for
5?
error here. No, they're 6-6.
6-6.
They can only probably
The AFC
afford
is
to
tight,
lose
bro.
one more game.
The AFC. Is
You
tight.
could make the playoffs 10-7.
So
I think.
they get the bye week. They get at Kansas City versus Dallas, at Chargers versus New England, at Miami.
Yeah.
You have to beat the Chiefs and Arrowhead. You have to beat the Cowboys.
You have to win out probably.
Yeah, and you have to beat Miami at home.
I think 10-7. 10-7 is good enough, but
Maybe. This AFC is tight, man.
10-7 is good enough. The Colts will not stick around for that 7th
Will
seed
they?
forever. No. But that leads us into the next team that we're going to
man.
talk about. The Indianapolis Colts, who honestly at this point don't seem like it's ridiculous. It makes zero sense.
It's great.
They're currently a playoff team. They're currently the 7th seed in the AFC.
Dude, their schedule.
And they just beat the Bucks 27-20. Sorry.
No.
Let me just finish
Your
this
intro,
intro and then I'll let you guys do your thing. They beat the Bucks 27-20, moved to 6-5. They're an above 500 football team. Anthony Richardson is out, and this was a team that honestly was not expected to be good by any means, and they're currently above 500. Shane Steichen is an elite head coach already, which is super impressive to me. Yeah, I mean, do we think the Colts end up making the playoffs? And I guess that's just my question. Do the Colts
So-
end up making the playoffs?
I'll say what I was about to say. Their schedule coming up is at Tennessee, at Cincy, versus Pittsburgh, at Falcons, versus Las Vegas, versus Houston. Those are all winnable games. I'm not saying they're going to win them all. They're all winnable games. Jonathan Taylor is out 2 to 3 weeks, I think they said, getting surgery on his thumb. But, like, look at how Zach Moss looked when he was out.
He's
They seemed
unbelievable.
unaffected by Jonathan Taylor being out.
They were better off without
They
without signing him.
kind of, yeah. Their rankings on the year, they're 8th in points per game, which mesmerizes me because they have some stinkers in there. 8th in red zone scoring percentage. So that's great when you have a backup like Gardner Minshew, where you kind of don't know what kind of game you're going to get from him.
He's streaky.
He is very streaky. Their defense has, again, on paper, is not good. 27th in points per game, 24th in yards per game, but they find a way, man. And they have some ugly wins. Like they beat the Patriots 10-7. That's like you if you tell me that they beat the Patriots 10-7 and then told me they were 6-5, I'd be like, one of those has to be false. But if I'm looking at this schedule,
Hey, I mean, 10-7 seems to be the Patriots' favorite score.
yeah, one way or
So-
the other. Like I said, I think maybe they lose to Pittsburgh. They lose to what do they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games remaining. They go 3-3. That puts them at 9-8. They go.
That's not good
4
enough to make the playoffs.
But like I said, I rattled off those games. They could win four of them.
All right. The Indianapolis Colts are making the playoffs,
Oh, my God.
Love it. Tell me why.
and there's a few reasons why. Gardner Minshew isn't playing great football.
Nope.
He's not playing elite football.
Nope.
He's not moving any needles. No one's looking at Gardner Minshew as the franchise guy. But he's not making that many mistakes. He clearly is a locker room presence wherever he goes. We saw that in Jacksonville. We saw that in, the 2 games he started in Philly last year, and we're seeing that this year. He has complete command of the locker room as a quarterback. The guys are behind him. The coaching staff is behind him. Everyone is behind him. And that only shows in the confidence this team is playing with. You know, you have a guy like Michael Pittman who's having a really under-the-radar season.
Yes, he is.
You have a guy like Josh Downs, a rookie who we all know I was really high on, but consensus wasn't, he's like top 5 in pretty much every rookie receiving
stat, yeah.
metric. You know, you have Zach Moss, who had multiple games of over 100 rushing yards while Jonathan Taylor is out. Do I mention Jonathan Taylor, a guy who just got back for a few games? He's going to miss some time again, but hopefully he'll be back for the important stretch, the last few games of the season. The thing that moves me about the Colts, they're on a 3-game win streak right now. Like you said, they didn't beat the best of teams. They beat Carolina, the worst team in football. They beat New England, arguably the second worst team in football, and then this past week they beat the Bucs.
No, I could tell you they're the second worst team in football now, confidently.
The thing that moves me about the Colts during this stretch is their defense. In those games, they haven't allowed over 200 yards passing, and I know you're going against scrub quarterbacks, but here's the thing: look at their remaining schedule.
That's
Are you
just it.
moved by Will Levis? Are you moved by Jake Browning? Are you moved by Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ritter?
Kenny Pickett.
Without
Aiden
Matt
Kenny
Canada, I might
Pickett.
be.
Kenny Pickett, no Matt Canada.
Aiden O'Connell? Granted, you play Week 18, you play Houston. CJ Stroud, we know about CJ Stroud. That could potentially be the game.
That could be a winner
in. Right, that could be a playoff game in and of itself.
Yeah.
But those 5 games prior, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and Las Vegas, are any of those quarterbacks threatening to me? No. Against a defense that has proven to be pretty great against the pass. And now we'll go into my RBSTM stats. Over the past 3 weeks since week 9, 4th in defensive EPA per play allowed at a minus 1.36. In terms of dropback EPA, they're 3rd with a minus 2.56. The only teams in front of them are the Browns and the 49ers. That's the class of the NFL defensively. That's how great this defense is playing. You have guys all over the field. It starts with DeForest Buckner in the middle of the field, but you have a bunch of unknown guys. EJ Speed, as the Mike linebacker, is having a really good year, breakout year. Kenny Moore is arguably the best slot corner in all football. Maybe Kyle Hamilton has a few words to say, but Kyle Hamilton doesn't really have a position. But I believe in this team because they're flying under the radar. No one's talking about them besides us. I think we're probably the only podcast who had them on their Week 12 recap this week.
Probably.
There were just a bunch of other storylines to talk about. But they need to get spoken about. They're, like I said, flying under the radar. They have a quarterback who's been flying under the radar his whole entire life, but seems to, like I said in the beginning of my monologue, he seems to just get the guys behind him and get everyone to buy in. And it's evident throughout this whole season. I mean, they started strong, beat Houston, beat Baltimore in overtime, beat Tennessee. You lost in overtime to the Rams. You lost to Cleveland by 1. Like, those are games that you were in. The only game all season where they really got blown out was the second one at Jacksonville. But, that's a division game. You played them semi-close in week 1. Like, that shit happens. But for the most part, not only have they won some games, but even in the losses, they've been pretty competitive. They're not going to go away. They're going to fight till that very last whistle. And like I said, I think their schedule the rest of the way, they can exploit the weaknesses in the teams they're going up against, and that could lead to some wins. Milk the clock, run the football effectively, and take care of the football like they've been doing pretty much all season.
Win ugly.
So, yeah, I believe in the Colts, and I think they're making the playoffs. I think in Week 18, Houston's going to come to their trap, and they are not going to take it over. The Colts are going to beat Houston in a win-and-get-in game in Week 18.
Love it. Why not them?
So, for me, 9-8 ain't getting you in the playoffs. And hell, I mean, it depends on a 10-7 record too. In the AFC, 9-8 is not getting you in the playoffs. So that's one thing. And you did mention that they've been phenomenal against the pass, but you also mentioned the fact that they really haven't played great quarterbacks, and they don't face a great quarterback. But another thing that this defense hasn't been good at is stopping the run by any means. They're currently 28th in the NFL in yards allowed overall for the entirety of the season, and they're 18th in yards per carry allowed. That's not good. And that ain't going to get better when you're facing teams like the Atlanta Falcons. And then obviously CJ Stroud, when he plays them, is going to tear their ass up. So there are weaknesses, and they've had a very light quarterback schedule to this point. So I am expecting CJ Stroud to beat them come Week 18. And I do expect the Falcons to beat them because their run game is as proficient as it is, and Bijan Robinson is finally getting touches, which is another little thing that I'm very happy about from this past week. But outside of that, I don't remember what the other teams were that you guys told me.
Game on the line. You need a
Bengals.
drive to win the game. Who are you taking, Desmond Ritter or Gardner Minshew? I'm not saying that determines who wins the game. I'm just in a vacuum. Game on the line. You need a drive to win.
Probably Gardner Minshew, but like Gardner Minshew doesn't inspire any confidence in me either. Like, Minshew's cool, but he also did not have a good game. Like, he turned it over. Well, he had a pick, but I mean, look, they won, which in the end is all that really matters. But this rushing attack is going to have to be dominant consistently, and there's some teams on this schedule that, are capable of stopping the run. And not only that, I mean, I don't think they beat Pittsburgh. I don't think they beat Atlanta, and I don't think they beat Houston. And those are 3 losses right there. Those are the 3 teams that I think end up beating them. And if that happens, I mean, what? Now you're 9-8, and you're not making the playoffs. You're
What if
not.
They do beat them.
Because
It's not a wash. They can beat them.
No, they can, but I think you are going to lose 3 of those
teams
games.
aren't moving me. Like, in terms of, like, stopping the Colts from making the playoffs. The Colts could, like, their fate is in their hands.
Yeah.
I don't think they have to win out, but, like, they could go 4-2, go 5-1 over these next 6 and
Who
make
else
the playoffs.
is in the running?
Pittsburgh-
Who's right
oh.
behind them?
Oh, I have it.
Yeah, I want to
So
know.
behind them is Houston 6-5, Broncos 6-5,
Yeah.
Bills 6-6, Bengals 5-6, Raiders 5-6.
Okay, forget about the Bengals.
Bengals, Raiders.
Bengals are done. Raiders are done.
Bills, Broncos, Texans.
Can go 10-7, and if the Bills go 9-8, I wonder who would. I guess it would be the. No, who would it be? If the Bills went 9-8, who the hell would it be?
Couldn't tell you.
Exactly. I don't know what that would end up being. I think it would come down to division record because they don't have a head
So
to
they
head.
play. The other thing is if they pick up wins. So like I said, Houston, if they beat them, you said that could be a win.
That's probably a winning in.
Sure. They play Cleveland and Pittsburgh, who are the 2 spots above them too. And they're not great. Like their defenses are great, but
So that's a tiebreaker for them.
those are I'm saying those are big games. If they beat
They already beat Cleveland, no? Have they played?
no,
Colts.
they don't play Cleveland twice.
Oh, Colts already played Cleveland?
They already played them.
Oh,
They
that's what I was at.
played
Yeah. Colts played.
Cleveland
That's what I
and
said. They
Pittsburgh.
played
Yeah,
Cleveland
my
already, and they beat them.
No. They're going to play Cleveland.
The Colts.
Yes.
That's a loss. They're taking an L.
Okay.
Even though it's fucking Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I'm sorry.
No, I'm
no,
an
they
asshole.
played them
I'm
already.
an asshole. They did play them.
Yeah, and
They
they
play Cincy.
and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cleveland beat them, no?
Maybe, probably.
Or did they lose? I don't even remember.
They play the Steelers.
They lost
though.
to Cleveland, correct?
That's my bad.
Who, the Colts?
Yes, in
yeah,
a
they
blow,
lost by one.
not in a high-scoring game. Yes. Okay. Cool. So Cleveland has a tiebreaker over them. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
If it comes down to like them two eventually being towards the end of the playoff race, I don't know. I don't think they're good enough. I really don't. I don't see it with this team.
They already beat Houston once.
Yes. Yeah, and
In
I think
Houston, right?
I think if they don't have a head-to-head with another team, it comes down to divisional record. So, at this current moment, what is their divisional record?
2-2.
That's not terrible. That's not awful. But they have a couple down. Yeah, they have a
play
couple more down the
Tennessee
stretch. Okay,
and
Tennessee
Cleveland.
sucks. Tennessee, they're
Yeah,
probably
that's
going
what
to
I'm
beat
saying, but
Tennessee.
They could beat Tennessee.
Um,
If they beat Houston, that's 4-2.
That's what I'm saying. The path is there for them.
It's ju- yeah, it's just
obviously,
like- yeah.
like the Bills. Like obviously, I think the Bills are a better football team. But am I taking the Colts versus Mickey Mouse schedule remaining, or the Bills who have to
toughest
play the
schedule in the
Chiefs, the
NFL, yeah.
Cowboys, the Chargers, and the Dolphins?
or the
too?
Texans, or who was the other team you mentioned?
Broncos.
Or the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos, they have 3 away games coming up that they're not favored in. Any of them, I don't think. So that's actually a pretty tough schedule coming
That's what I'm
up.
saying. The Broncos have you have the Chargers twice.
Texans,
They're probably going to split
Chargers,
against
Lions.
the Chargers.
At Houston, at Lions.
They could beat the Patriots. They will split with the Chargers. I think they beat the Raiders. That's already 3 more wins. That's 9. And then I could see them winning another one of those. I don't know.
It's going to be close.
It is. It's
like,
going to be a fun,
I really like the Colts' chances considering the schedule they have, man. None of the teams they verse besides Houston in Week 18 are striking any fear into me.
So you wouldn't be a little worried against, say, Pittsburgh.
That's like, that one's the top
For
one,
the Colts.
obviously. Out of the remaining teams, Tennessee, Cincy, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Vegas, obviously Pittsburgh.
Either.
I'm not fucking moved by Atlanta. I'm not worried about them.
I don't know. What the
I'm sure
Colts'
it'll be a
weaknesses are.
toss-up in terms of, like,
Who's home?
like the spread and shit like that. It's at Atlanta. I'm sure it'll be a toss-up of a game, but I mean, I like their chances.
Yeah.
They've proven this season they can win games like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm moved by it. Gardner Minshew has multiple games over 300 passing yards this year, one of them being against that Browns defense.
That's one thing. If you get a flamethrower game from Gardner Minshew, that change like that
Changes everything.
Yeah, that's the whole game.
And he's more than capable of it. Obviously, he's
Yeah.
not going to be an elite quarterback
gonna
for
do
the
it
rest
every
of the
week, yeah.
season, but can he put together 2 out of these 6 games where he looks really good? Yeah.
And 2 other games, the run game takes over.
Right.
Yeah, it could happen. This, the
They're
script is there.
forcing turnovers.
It's actually crazy
Yeah.
that they are about it as close to the epitome of mid of an NFL team as possible. 24.5 points per game, 24.4 points against per game. Their expected win-loss is 5.5 and 5.5. Their SRS score is a .63, which is 16th out of the 32 teams in the NFL.
Amen.
And their strength of schedule
What do we
is a
say?
.54.
C's get degrees. Same shit here.
I guess.
Mid
I
gets
don't
you
think
in.
they make the playoffs, man. It's just that simple for me. All right. Next up,
So of the 3 teams, who do you think makes it? Between Buffalo, Indy, and Denver.
And Houston's in that mix.
And Houston.
yeah,
my bad,
Houston's
my
also
bad.
in that mix.
And I guess Pittsburgh's in that mix too.
Then we're
Like,
including Cleveland.
Well, then yeah.
It's-
Pick 3 of those.
All right. So instead of 3 teams, it's 6.
yeah, it's
Pick 3 of 6.
it's Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Indy, Houston, Denver, Buffalo fighting for 3 wild card spots.
So who do you think gets the 3 spots?
Denver.
You
Buff-
have to have one of Pittsburgh and Cleveland in
Right, I
there, if
agree.
not both.
I agree. That's the issue.
Cleveland's
here.
quarterback situation is so murky to me, so
Yes.
I'm gonna have Pittsburgh in there.
I agree.
I'm gonna have Indy in there because I just got on the podcast and proclaimed that, so I have to have that stand on business, as the kids say. I think I'm gonna rock with the. Call me crazy. I think I'm gonna rock with the Texans too. I think the AFC South is gonna get 3 teams in
That's
there, bro.
ridiculous, man. That's crazy. The
Texans.
AFC South,
Texans
which
do
we
not have-
expected to be the worst division in all of football.
Texans have a pretty good schedule too.
Do they?
Versus Denver, at Jets, at Tennessee, versus Cleveland, versus Tennessee, at Indy.
Listen,
That
man.
Cleveland game is important.
Yeah.
Like, you could say I'm a fool. You could say, oh, they just played the best team in the NFL close and took them to overtime. I really have no faith in the Bills, bro.
It's the schedule.
You know
If
what's
you-
funny?
If you can't
so-
win, if you can't
so
win
hard.
that one, I don't know what games you're gonna win.
I actually thought about, like, I think they're going to make the playoffs for that exact reason. I think this is like, because honestly, you can't really predict what the Bills are going to be from a week-to-week basis, I guess. Like, that's fact. But I think this is the type of game that it's like, all right, we just played them super tough. Our entire playoff lives are on the line now.
Backs against
So
the
it's,
wall.
yes, backs are completely against the wall. What the fuck do you got? What are you made of now? So I think the Bills end up making the playoffs. I think Pittsburgh ends up making the playoffs. And I think the other team is Denver. As crazy as that sounds. Those are the 3 that I pick. Watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be the other 3.
I'll take Pittsburgh. I'll take.
Crazy to say Pittsburgh, bro. We said they were the most fluke team ever.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. It's so tough. It literally.
I'd love to
it
see
could be
CJ
any
Stroud in the
of them.
playoffs, though. That'd be dope.
I totally agree. I'll take. All right, so I'll take Pittsburgh. I'll take Denver. It's so hard for me to look at the Colts.
And say the Colts.
They're getting
not
in,
say
bro.
Josh Allen, like not pick Josh Allen.
I'm telling y'all, man. Bills are going to make the playoffs.
I'm gonna take the Bills. I don't want to.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not gonna overthink it.
Yes, sir.
But I see the vision and I like it.
They move me, bro.
Who, the Colts? I don't know how they move
Gardner
you, bro.
Minshew
They're
makes the
mid.
playoffs and Josh fucking Allen doesn't. It's just like, think about that.
The NFL.
Think about it before the season. I told you Gardner Minshew will have a better record than Josh Allen.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
No, it's
I
ridiculous.
mean, it's just unreal that they're in position to even
Yeah.
Miss
compete
the
for
playoffs.
a playoff spot.
They have some, well, the Colts, yeah. And then the Bills, it's unbelievable that they're not in position to be a top 3 seed in the playoffs.
no,
At the
I
current
don't know about
I
unbelievable.
expected that.
Bro, they're losing some fucking games that they have no business losing.
They
That's
suck.
just that simple. But anyways, another team that's on the bubble of the playoffs, on the other side of, on the other conference, I should say, and it is the Green Bay Packers, who just made a statement on Thanksgiving and dominated a Lions team that we all thought was, you know, a top 4-ish team in the NFC. Not in the league. I wasn't going to say the
My
league.
hot take is that Alabama could beat Detroit on Thanksgiving.
I think Detroit's record on Thanksgiving actually ain't that bad either. We looked it up
All
last week,
time, no.
but
Late, like the last
Few
they
years?
lost like their. Let me say.
but
Go ahead.
regardless, I mean, Green Bay made a statement, dominated the Lions. Jordan Love probably played the best game of his young career to this point. He obviously hasn't had too many starts to this point, but he absolutely dominated. He looked phenomenal. And when I was watching that game, there were just some throws that I was like, there are very few quarterbacks in the NFL that could actually make the throw that he just made. He seems like he's getting more comfortable as the season progresses, which is a great sign. And we'll see if this continues. So I asked the question, do the Green Bay Packers make the playoffs in the NFC?
Lines are 0-7 in their last 7 Thanksgiving
That's
games,
ridiculous.
by the way. I want to look at the teams that are. Chris, if you have a stance, you go ahead.
I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but they're playing some good football right now, and it starts with Jordan Love. I mean, the last 2 weeks he's been, pretty much near flawless. 2 weeks ago against the Chargers in the 23-20 victory, he was 27 for 40, went for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was pretty spectacular. And then in this one, off the jump on Thanksgiving,
Yep.
I wasn't even out of bed yet, and this dude's throwing a 50-yard bomb. I was still in bed.
Yep.
I didn't even fucking roll over yet. Turn the game on, bro's throwing a 50-yard bomb. 268 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's had some games here where he's really showcasing what he could do and what makes him special. You look at the last 4, 3 weeks ago, they lost to the Steelers in a close game, but he played pretty good in that one too, aside from the turnovers. And then they pounced on the Rams, but he's showcasing elite arm talent. This guy has an arm amongst the best in the league, and they're building as the season goes on, and I think that's kind of what we expected from them. They have the youngest receiver room in the entire NFL, so obviously it wasn't going to be there from the jump. Christian Watson came into the season banged up. He hasn't been himself. Christian Watson plays like he's like 5'9", and he's 6'4", and it's very, very interesting, but you have Wicks, you have Reed, you have Romeo Dubes, you have all these young receivers.
Jaden Reed's a fucking baller, might I add. He's going to be their best receiver.
It just looks like they're just adding chemistry as the season goes on. And to me, it kind of seems like it's out of necessity because Aaron Jones is in and out of the lineup, and they have no semblance of a run game. So they're asking a lot of Jordan Love, and, these past 4 weeks, he's delivering. The 2-game win streak they're on right now, over that span, he's 4th in the league in, my apologies, he's 5th in the league in EPA per play, only behind Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, and Brock Purdy over the last 2 weeks. He's playing like a top 5 quarterback. He's throwing the ball over the field, so it's a good thing to see. I don't know if they're going to get into the playoffs, but what's their schedule like?
So that's the point.
They have Kansas City. The Giants should be easy.
You would hope.
Bucks, Carolina, and then you finish your season with 2 division games, Minnesota and Chicago.
All winnable except for Kansas City, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And most of those they honestly might be favored for.
Yeah, in a weak NFC where no one's really separated themselves from the pack in terms of the wild card race, aside from Dallas/Philly, probably Dallas in this case. But other than that, there's 2 spots that are firmly up for grasp right now. So I don't see why not. I think they're going to finish it as a better team than the Vikings. Obviously, what we saw from Josh Dobbs last night. I'm taking a Jordan Love-led team over a Josh Dobbs-led team right now as things stand. The Seahawks are kind of falling apart a little bit.
You'd have to assume
the Saints seem to be falling apart. Yeah, I think the Packers are going to get in, man.
The Seahawks have to make it.
Oh, the Seahawks?
Yeah,
I'd assume the Seahawks get in. I'd assume those are the teams right there.
What's the Seahawks?
Philly wins their division. Niners win their division. Detroit wins their division. I still have Atlanta winning the South, but regardless, only one NFC South team gets in.
Man.
And then the wild card teams will be Dallas, Seattle,
that NFC
Green
South
Bay.
division
Seahawks
is
next
disgusting.
3 are at Dallas, at San Fran,
boy.
versus Philly.
Yeah, Seattle might be done.
I'm gonna be honest.
Might be
They
close.
might not win any
And
of
then-
those.
Yeah, might
Who
be
are the
close.
last 3
At
to go 9-8?
At Tennessee versus Pittsburgh, at Arizona.
Yeah, it might be clipped for them.
Yeah, it really might be.
They could win those last 3 though.
They could.
and roll in with some momentum.
They could also lose 3 straight, and
You got to take one
that
of them.
like demoralizes you.
You're not.
Which one?
I'm sorry, you're not in the class with San Fran. You can't even compete with San Fran.
Dallas beats up on
Dallas,
bad teams.
yeah, but the Seahawks are not a bad team.
They should be able to win one of those 3 games.
I don't know, man.
Geno has not been good.
Well, but even if they do, winning one of those games isn't really enough for them right now.
So there's
Well,
6
nah, you would
5.
assume if they win one of those games, they should be guaranteed to make the playoffs.
You win one, they're 7-5, and then Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Arizona. Might drop one of those.
No shot. I don't think they
No
drop.
shot.
Maybe
I
the
don't know, bro. I think you're giving-
Pittsburgh
I think
game.
you're giving them too much credit.
No, bro. I mean,
I
actually,
like the
good.
Seahawks. I think you're giving them too much credit.
yeah, but they're such a they like on
I don't
paper.
think it's win one of those games against those top 3 teams and you're in and
No,
lock
it's
it
definitely
up.
not guaranteed. Because
I
the
still
same
like
way,
their chances. I'd predict them to get into the playoffs,
the same way
but
you
it's
can,
not.
the same way they can win one of those games, they can lose one of the last 3.
You know who can make it? The Rams.
I don't really believe in the Rams going
I'll
forward.
take the Packers over the Rams. Packers' schedule is just like we said.
I'm just saying, there's 2 spots right now
Yeah.
that are up for grabs with the
Sure.
Seahawks schedule looking that bad.
Sure.
So there are 2 spots, and there's probably what you'd
The
say.
Seahawks, the Packers. The Vikings are in that conversation, and I think you have to have the Saints and Falcons both in that conversation. Whoever doesn't win the division,
Well,
I
yeah,
think
but one of
has-
them's gonna win the division,
Right,
so that's
so-
only one team.
Yeah, right.
And then the Rams, I think, should be in the conversation. I don't think the
You could
Bucs should
put
be
the Rams-
involved.
Yeah, you could put
No,
the
yeah, the
Rams in the
Rams are in there. They're
conversation
5
if you
and 6.
want. So what? The Seahawks, the Vikings, the Packers, the Rams, the Saints/Falcons fighting for 2 spots.
Five
So
teams,
5 teams
2
fighting
spots.
for 2 spots.
All right, who we got?
I think Green Bay gets in.
What's Green Bay's remaining? Oh yeah, Green Bay's remaining.
I think I'm gonna rock
good.
with Seattle and Green
Yeah,
Bay.
I think Seattle and Green Bay, but I don't know. Let me see the Rams schedule.
Like the Saints/Falcons.
What is the Rams remaining? I'm curious.
The Saints/Falcons? I don't think you could write them off. Like I
So-
think whoever doesn't win in that division could still make a push for that last wild card spot.
Versus Cleveland, at Baltimore, versus Washington, versus New Orleans, at the Giants, at San Fran.
Some tough games
I
in
think
there.
3 of those games they should
In
win.
theory, you lose to San Fran, Baltimore.
It
The
seems
rest are
like,
winnable.
they
It
could be-
seems like
yeah.
all these teams that we're talking about in this mix have 3 really tough games and then 3 games that you could probably
Except
Yes.
for the
Point
Packers.
for.
Packers have 1 tough game, and
And
the
then
rest are
5
winnable.
easy,
Yeah.
five that you should be favored in.
I
Actually,
mean, the last 2
Yeah,
are
so
divisional games, so anything could happen.
yeah, I'm gonna
That's
take
why.
the Packers, and I'm gonna side with the talent on the Seattle Seahawks. But I could absolutely see the coaching and the quarterback of the Rams and Aaron Donald being on your side.
Saints don't have a bad
potentially
schedule
winning.
either, but I just don't believe in them. They just don't.
Well, yeah,
look
you
good.
you forget about that. The Saints, the Saints exist, man, but they just exist. That's all.
I'm
they
good
do.
on the Saints. I'll take. I'll take Seattle and Green Bay.
I still think Atlanta wins that division. I'm
Probably.
So
sticking
do I.
with that. But I don't know if the Saints make it, bro. Especially Olave's probably going to miss next week. Shaheed is hurt. Thomas is on IR.
Yeah, I don't expect them to, but
Yeah,
I
no.
think you have to just keep them in that mix.
Give
just
them the
because-
respect
yeah,
that they're completely mid.
yeah.
So
And Derek Carr has just been.
They're in the
I love their car, but
Did you
yeah.
see his rambling on about his pick to Jesse Bates?
Oh my God!
This
yeah,
man
bro.
talked for 5 minutes.
He was like, he basically said like,
That was
I
a
didn't know he
horrible
could-
play, yeah.
He's like, I didn't know he could see where I was throwing the ball. Like,
I'm
my
a
God.
bro.
He was
I'm
like-
gonna
Yo,
be dead honest.
RG3 did a breakdown of that shit, and I quote tweeted it. I said RG3 is the
saw
GOAT, and he responded to my tweet,
Really?
RG3. He said, that's all you. RG3 said
What
I'm
a
the
legend.
GOAT.
Shout out
Yo,
RG3,
RG3, pull up,
bro.
That's crazy.
Pull up
I
to
know
the
I
pod,
gotta ask
man.
him to hop
I would
on,
love
bro.
it.
Pull up to. Oh my God,
Oh.
that would be the craziest shit of all
Anytime
time.
anyone ever interacts with me, I'm asking them to come on.
Yeah.
It all started
Shoot-
way back when
shoot
I
your
made a
shoot, man.
TikTok and Quinn Cook commented on it.
Yes.
I was like, Quinn Cook,
Throwback.
please come on the podcast,
shoot,
bro.
shoot, man.
You have to, bro.
But yeah, Jesse Bates, that was a hell of a play by Jesse Bates. But yeah, he just read his eyes, and Derek Carr was like amazed that Jesse Bates didn't just sit in his zone and just play the receiver. You know. and
Well, I
get
mean,
him
the
play
way
ball.
RG, it was really like a spectacular play.
It
No,
was.
it really was.
Like
It was
I
a
don't,
terrific play
I'm not
by
a
Bates.
fan of Derek Carr, kind of like just like glossing over it and saying like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
it wasn't my fault. He just made an incredible play, but that kind of was really what happened.
Yeah.
So what happened was it was closed field, so it was single eye safety, and Jesse Bates was kind of shading to the left side. So, like, immediately pre-snap, if it's single eye safety and he's shading to the left side, your initial thought is, I'm going to throw this to the right side where I have two receivers.
One up
And
slant.
Right.
it was man coverage across the board with a linebacker underneath. So there were two routes on the right side. They were kind of two in-breaking routes with a deeper post on the left side. And that's what Derek Carr was thinking. Well, Jesse Bates is on this left side. His responsibility is going to be the deep post. One in-breaking route came, and the linebacker took that one. So Jesse Bates knew his linebacker's responsibility. He was taking that route no matter what. So Jesse Bates traveled all the way across the fucking field and timed it perfectly to take away the second round.
It was ridiculous.
It was a hell of a play
As
by
soon
him,
as
yeah.
bro broke on the ball and the ball got... Derek Carr, like, made the right read. He threw it as soon as the break. The ball got there on the break. But Jesse Bates traveled all the way across the field, made the play, and then took it to the crib. Shout out to RG3
It's
for
so
breaking
funny.
that all down for me.
Because Olave was wide open
Yeah,
because
the
Bates
post was
left
wide
his
open, yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Bates left his responsibility,
But he
and
read his
as he
eyes.
throws the pick, you see Olave just streaking.
Yeah, Carr clearly
Butt-ass
made that
naked.
decision at the line,
Yeah.
and Jesse Bates clearly just outsmarted him.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
was-
some Ed Reed type shit. Like,
Yeah.
it really... Jesse Bates is my guy, bro. I told you all about the Falcons defense, man.
You know, it's funny to me
I
because
said top 10, and that's exactly
they are
what
they are ballers. No, they're really good. It's funny to me because that when I listened to the Derek Carr thing, that was my equivalent of when Paul George told Damian Lillard it was a bad shot. Honestly, that was exactly what I thought of.
And
Yeah,
Paul
it's like, yeah, you're right. That was
That was a bad shot,
but we
but-
don't want to hear that from you.
Yes.
And Paul George to this day
Exactly.
is like, that's a bad shot. Like Derek Carr to the same thing. He's like, that's just a great play.
And it
And yeah,
definitely
exactly.
was a great
Everyone
play,
but
but
Derek
we
Carr
don't
can
want
say
to hear
that.
you say it's a great
yeah,
play.
you're right. You're so right.
Have Dennis Allen come to the podium.
Yeah.
I don't blame my quarterback, honestly. It was all Jesse Bates made a phenomenal play. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but Derek Carr's out here like, no, that was a terrible play, but, he made it.
Yeah, but
He made it.
I mean, in terms of the Packers, man, this is what makes football special, man. You get hot at the right time. You figure things out the second half of the season after your bye, and it could change your season.
Yeah.
You win a few games at the right time, and you're making the playoffs.
Oh, jeez.
What's the issue?
Are you okay? Okay.
What are you doing?
Nah. I do think the Packers make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't know
gonna.
who else. I think I'm
just
gonna lean
give,
Seahawks.
I'm just gonna give Jordan Love some credit because I know me and you are pretty vocal that we think Jordan Love
Is
we-
dog
is
shit?
Dog shit.
Yeah. But his last two games
He's
have
been
been
lighting it
phenomenal.
up, man. And yeah, Christian Watson has his best game of the season. And the rookie receivers have been really good. Dontavian
Wick's gotta get healthy.
Yeah, he didn't play. But Jaden Reed has been really good, and it's just, I think he's their wide receiver one.
They
And those guys are getting better as the season goes on, and that's only going to help when you're getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, Dobbs is a good receiver.
Yeah.
Wicks is a solid receiver when he was playing. Reed is the guy.
Yeah.
I think we're slowly figuring out Reed is the guy.
Watson just has
Watson
all the
can't
tools.
stay healthy, and as you said, he's a 6'4" guy that plays like he's 5'9". But
Imagine Steve Smith with Christian Watson.
oh my god, bro. You know what I was thinking about? There was the NFL posted like the fastest speeds from this week, and Jaden Reed's run hit like 21.8 miles per hour, and everyone in the comments was like, it didn't even look like he accelerated
Yeah.
to like full speed. Like it looked like he was honestly just taking it easy on the run. But yeah, he's ridiculous. He's a
That
stud.
a human can run that fast.
Yeah, bro, it's with pads. With pads.
That's
And this
like-
big old fucking thing on your head.
Bro, that's a ticket in a school zone.
Nah, it's ridiculous. He's
That's crazy.
He's unreal. Some of these dudes are just ridiculously talented, and they're freakishly athletic. So, it's what it takes to be a pro athlete. But all right. Talk about ridiculously talented. At least in college he was. Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers are currently falling apart. Franck Reich was just fired, and we see all the jokes on Twitter. I don't gotta make that joke.
No.
But we see all the jokes on Twitter. Franck Reich got canned, and for the rest of the season, I don't know who the interim is. I don't know who they elevated. I don't remember if they even announced who they elevated to the head coaching position.
I haven't seen it.
But regardless, Panthers are a 1-10 football team. Currently own the number one pick, but don't actually own the number one pick because the Chicago Bears have their pick. So there really is not much of a light at the end of the tunnel at the current moment for this team. So I guess my first question is, do we think that firing Frank Reich was the right move? And what's next for the Carolina Panthers?
So they elevated Chris, I might not be saying it right, Chris Tabor, the team special teams coordinator.
Interesting.
That is the interim head coach right now for the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, Frank Reich had to go. But 11 games was his stint?
Yep.
11 games.
David Tepper has zero
as
patience.
the head coach of the team. He didn't last as long as Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was 13 games. I think this is the second or third shortest coaching stint of all time. And he's the first NFL coach since the merger to be fired in back-to-back seasons. He was the first coach hired this offseason.
Nice.
And he's the first one fired.
I actually liked them hiring him too.
Yeah,
I liked it.
That takes some special doing. The Panthers are just such a fucking mess. It's so hard. Like, where do they go from here? I don't know. They don't have their pick this year. They traded away.
First overall.
And even if they do, like, all they're going to do is draft someone really good, and then when it comes time to pay him, trade him.
Or not trade him and let him walk.
Yeah, that's all they do.
Which is what Brian Burns about to do.
As far as Bryce Young, it's tough, man. You want to root for the guy. He's a number one pick. He was, as you said, absolute animal in college. But he's on his third play caller in his first season.
Did Frank Reich take over play calling duties, or did he originally have it and then got rid of it?
You could be right. The OC took it over, and then he took it back.
And now he's gone.
Now he's gone. So now this guy might be calling the plays.
I don't think their special teams coordinator is calling plays. I think their offensive coordinator is probably calling plays.
But they fired him too earlier in the season, right? So they have a new offensive
coordinator. No, they didn't fire him.
Oh, okay.
He just took play calling from him.
But still, man,
sure.
Bryce Young just has nothing to get acclimated to. I mean, you compare him to C.J. Stroud. Okay, obviously C.J. Stroud's a better quarterback.
Well,
that's not even a question. Stroud is in a better situation. So if they swap places, I don't think Bryce looks as good as Stroud right now, but he probably looks a lot better. He's not in a good situation. So I think what's next for the Carolina Panthers, listen, you drafted this guy number 1 overall. You got to get him some help. Put an offensive line around him, get him some weapons, and make sure he's your guy. And if he's not your guy, move on, or else you end up like the Jets with Zach Wilson, and if you can't admit you made a mistake. But we're not there yet. Right now, just get Bryce Young in the best situation possible, I think, is where the Panthers go from here.
The Carolina Panthers are setting Bryce Young up for failure, and it's clear as day.
Yeah.
And this starts with the ownership. This starts with David Tepper. So here we go. David Tepper bought the team in 2018. He inherited a team who had just drafted DJ Moore and drafted Dante Jackson on the other side of the ball. Those are the 2 rookies that year. This is the team with Cam Newton at age 29. He had 3400 yards this season, 24 touchdowns. You have a Christian McCaffrey in his second year who just went over 1,000 yards in the first season Tepper took over in 2018. 7 touchdowns, went over 100 receptions, 6 touchdowns on the ground. You have a young star in Christian McCaffrey. You have DJ Moore, like I said. You have a young third-year Devin Funchess who looked like he could be something. You have Curtis Samuel in his second year who's still producing
Just had a great Thanksgiving Day game.
You have Greg Olsen, who passed his prime, but you still have Greg Olsen. You have good offensive pieces. You have Trey Turner, who was a Pro Bowler this year on your offensive line. You have Taylor Moton in his second year, who was a great right tackle. You have Ryan Khalil at center. You have a good offensive line. On the defensive side, you have Kawan Short, who is a Pro Bowler this season. We know what Kawan Short could do in the interior of the defensive line. You have Luke Kuechly, who is arguably the best middle linebacker of this generation. You have a young Shaq Thompson in his third year who looked like he could be a star. You still have Thomas Davis. Past his prime, it's still Thomas Davis. Important to the Super Bowl team from 3 years prior. Dante Jackson, like I said, you just drafted. You have James Bradbury on the other side of him. You have some promising pieces when David Tepper took over. They finished 7-9 this year. The following season, they fire Ron Rivera after 12 games. Perry Farwell takes over. They go 0-4, finish the season 5-11. Kyle Allen's the starting quarterback.
I remember that.
Still have all these pieces. Still have all these pieces, Shaq Thompson, the interior of the defensive line kind of. You still have some older pieces, but you lost, Short and stuff. You've done Terry Poe, Gerald McCoy, whatever. The next season, you finish 5-11 again. Matt Rule's first season.
Oh boy, that was a
Teddy
disaster,
Bridgewater is the starting quarterback. Christian McCaffrey missed a lot of time. Mike Davis was the starting running back for most of the season.
Man had like 80 receptions that year.
You still have a young receiving core. Like I said, you still have DJ Moore, still have Curtis Samuel. You now have Robbie Chosen-Anderson, who had a fucking 1,000-yard season. You have 2,000-yard receivers. Defensively, you still have Shaq Thompson. You draft Jeremy Chin and Derek Brown. And you have Brian Burns in his second year. I forgot to mention the year prior they drafted Brian Burns.
Boy's a dog.
So you have young pieces on defense. Like I said, you have Dante Jackson in his second year, in his third year, Brian Burns in his second year. You have Derek Brown, Jeremy Chin you just drafted. You have Shaq Thompson in the middle of the defense. You have some young, promising pieces on defense. You need to figure out the quarterback. That's what it seemed like. Get McCaffrey healthy, get a quarterback. 2021, Sam Darnold. Chuba Hubbard's
I remember
back
the greatest 4-game stretch of a quarterback ever.
He was 3-0 with McCaffrey. That's all I'll say.
Oh yeah, it was 3 games.
And then he lost 3 straight. But yeah.
Now you bring in Hassan Reddick on defense, who has the best year of his career, 11 sacks alongside Brian Burns. You still have Shaq Thompson. You have a young secondary with Dante Jackson, Jeremy Chin. You bring in Embed, AJ Boye. They once again have pieces on defense. 2020
going downhill.
2022, you're 1-4 with Matt Rule. You fire him. Bring in Steve Wilkes. You finish the season 6-6.
Yeah, they looked respectable.
You finish the season 6-6, and then you don't bring him back. You don't bring Steve Wilkes back. You bring in Franck Reich. Bring in Franck Reich, who's supposed to be this offensive guru, and then you trade the franchise away to get Bryce Young. If this was 3 years ago, 2018, when I said, look at all those young pieces on defense, they're a quarterback away, that's when you make that trade. When they weren't a quarterback away. They weren't a quarterback away. And now you traded everything you can to improve your roster around that quarterback. So I have it in front of me right here. This is from an article I found. Sorry, I'm not giving you credit. I just copy-pasted it into my notes. In exchange for the pick they used to draft Bryce Young, the Panthers traded wide receiver DJ Moore, 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks to the Bears. And one of those first-round picks is pretty much going to wind up as the top selection in this year's draft. This is a historically rare kind of beat. The last time a team traded a draft pick that wound up as the first selection in that draft was 1978, when the 49ers traded their first-round pick in the 1979 draft to the Bills for the pick that ended up being O.J. Simpson. Buffalo used that top pick to draft a linebacker who ended up electing to play for the CFL instead of playing for the Bills.
That's about as Buffalo as
and that's how bad
gets.
this is. It's an all-time bad beat.
Yeah.
The Panthers are throwing screen passes on fourth and 6.
Oh my God, yeah.
They have the wide receivers aren't creating any type of separation. The offensive
They're jumping out of bounds when they catch passes.
That Jonathan Mingo clip
That was
is
so
crazy.
bad.
That Jonathan
That
Mingo
was
clip
so
is crazy.
bad, bro. On Ghetto Gronk, they were clowning him so hard. They're like, Bryce Young is bad in quotation marks, and it's just Jonathan Mingo jumping out of bounds as he's trying to catch a pass.
You have no receivers. Your offensive line isn't blocking.
Geez.
And that defense that looked kind of promising back in 2018, 2019, those guys got to get paid. And it starts with Brian Burns, who you did everything you can to keep around. You could have gotten multiple first-round picks from the Rams. We all know about that rumor. That was true. You could have gone for
at least
multiple first-round picks for him.
First-round pick.
And you choose to keep him. And now what? You're going to have to trade him. These young pieces that they do still have on defense, they're going to have to start trading away because it's an offensive league today, and they have no signs of any type of developing pieces on their offense, and they have no future picks.
Pretty sure they have cap room. There is one bright side here, and I'm pretty sure they do have
cap room.
T.
Higgins. No, it's funny because David Tepper does like to spend money. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's not one of those guys that doesn't want to spend money. He has zero patience because he's so fucking rich.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of the issue. Like, we're getting these owners who aren't like these guys are so rich that they expect results like this. And if it doesn't come to you, then the first thought is just, oh, it's fucking fire everybody. And that scares me for Bryce Young because, like, who knows how many guys we're going to have potentially coaching him or anything like that. Like, who knows if there's a new GM in town by the end of this fucking season. Like, Bryce Young, if you don't show any flashes, you don't have a great game down the stretch, who's to say the GM's ass isn't on the line? Like, who's to say that? Like, David Tepper could go nuts and just fire fucking everybody.
Well, and the thing that's so concerning is just you set your future back so far by trading all these picks for Bryce Young to the point where I don't think it's salvageable by the time Bryce Young's rookie contract is up. So by the time maybe you have some sort of young, talented roster around Bryce Young, it's going to be time to pay him. And we all know the window to win in the NFL is when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. By the time Bryce Young's rookie deal is up, they're not going to be competitive. They'll maybe be scratching the surface of being competitive. They'll maybe be able to salvage some of the picks by trading some of their defensive pieces. But now you have to lose defense to supplement your terrible offense, your terrible offensive direction. It's rough. It's rough. And like you said, they do have cap space. There's some moves to be made within the margins that could help this team, but I think they set themselves so far back that and you know this, Matt, I loved Bryce Young coming out of the draft class. The smartest quarterback in the draft, in my opinion, and I know that doesn't say much. It's all about what you do on the field, but your brain matters is at the quarterback position. Sure. He was making great reads in college. He was carrying a Alabama team that lacked talent compared to previous years. He was carrying them on his back, doing everything he can. And we've seen it in the NFL. We've seen some flashes. We've seen some pocket awareness. We've seen him navigate the pocket, throw some good balls. It's just no quarterback would succeed in this situation.
Yeah.
It feels like they're just so far from making it happen. But I do think, like, there are going to be plenty of receivers out there that are available. And it feels like every move that they made this offseason just backfired. Like, the Miles Sanders move was supposed to take some pressure off him.
God,
He's been atrocious. Miles Sanders has been horrible. Adam Thielen, by the way, did not think he'd be as good as he has been
Phenomenal
so far
pickup.
this season. But you can't rely on a guy that old to carry it out throughout the entirety of the season, as we're seeing him slowly slow down now throughout, obviously, as the games pile on a, 35-year-old body at this point.
I mean, it starts with the offensive line, though. I mean, in terms of pass blocking, according to PFF, they're the third worst team in the NFL. Worst team is the Giants.
Of course.
And in terms of run blocking, they're the fifth worst team in the NFL. It starts with the O-line.
Third worst is the Giants.
Their O-line is in shambles right now. The weapons are in shambles. The defense isn't great, and all the young pieces you have, you're going to either have to trade or pay. Like, it's just, I don't see the situation getting any. You lack picks, so you lack an ability to add any type of young talent. Like, how does this get better for Bryce Young? How does the situation get better for him? How do the Carolina Panthers set Bryce Young up to succeed going forward?
You fucked up not trading Brian Burns, so now you have to pay Brian Burns.
Just to trade him. He's not going to be
which you're not even going to be able to do
if they
for a while if you pay him.
For a year or two at least.
You missed your window of opportunity to capitalize on him, especially being that you didn't have a first-round pick. Like, first of all, Brian Burns, not a type of guy that you want to trade, but in a situation where the Carolina Panthers are in, it's a guy that you have to trade.
You see the Commanders, they went and did it, not with one guy, with two guys.
And didn't even get a first-round pick for
with
either
two
one of them.
guys, they went and did it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sweat and Chase, like, you got a second and third.
Bite the bullet.
Exactly. You got a second and third for those two. And then Sweat obviously ended up signing an extension with the Bears. Chase Young, yet to be determined with the 49ers. But regardless, I mean, you had the opportunity to get a first-round pick. It was there, if not more, because Burns has been that damn good. Like, if this team was any good this year, we'd be talking about, like, down ballot defensive player of the year, like top 5, top 7-ish defensive player of the year voting. And we can't because they're 1-10. So I think you have to pay Brian Burns. But not only that, there's other defensive pieces that you're going to have to either pay or you're going to have to trade this offseason. And then one thing that I think is absolute must at this point, T. Higgins, you are a Carolina Panther at this point. And if it's not T. Higgins, it's got to be Michael Pittman. If it's not Michael Pittman, it's got to be, I don't fucking know, one or two of these guys. I think Gabe Davis is going to be out there, but I think Gabe Davis is set to be a New York Giant at this point, if I'm being entirely honest with you. But T. Higgins needs to be signed by the Carolina Panthers. He will not be back in Cincinnati. They will not be paying him, especially after the tumultuous season that he's had so far. So you have your opportunity to go get an alpha number 1 receiver. You go get him. Even though I think there's a little bit of an opportunity for T. Higgins to be similar to Kenny Golladay, if I'm being entirely honest, in what happened there.
I think it starts for Carolina. I think it's got to start with the coaching staff. You need to establish some cohesion within this organization. You got guys, it's a revolving door. Guys are coming in and out, and you just can't establish a culture. It's not a place people want to go right now, and you need guys that want to be there. I think a good name for them is the Ben Johnson line coach.
Ben Johnson, yep.
Go get
That's
him.
the hire.
Yeah.
Cut the check.
For sure. Go get him. Establish
those
culture.
have to be the moves.
Right.
Yes.
You have to get Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you have to get T. Higgins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you don't get both of those guys, you completely failed this offseason and might have failed your organization for the next 5 years.
Is there
5
another
years.
head
Agreed.
coach name out there? Do you guys
No.
think of? No, it's Ben Johnson.
Not really.
Maybe if Eric Bieniemy
That's the
doesn't
only other
want
name
to
I can
hang
think
out
of,
in
but-
Washington, you need an offensive-oriented guy.
Right.
You need someone who could build a relationship with Bryce Young. It was supposed to be Franck Reich.
Yeah.
It was supposed
There
to be
were
Frank
rumors that Frank Reich wanted Stroud, so that definitely could have played a
I
factor.
heard
in
those
all of
as
this.
well, to be honest.
But you're right that you definitely need in today's NFL. You definitely need an offensive-minded coach, and Ben Johnson's just a perfect candidate for that.
Ben
More
Johnson
than
makes perfect
just
sense.
that, you need it. It doesn't get talked about enough how important relationships
Yeah,
are in the
cohesion, yeah.
NFL in terms of coach-player relationships. You need a guy that Bryce Young likes. I know he's only in his first year and hasn't been great, so what say does he have? But he's a guy who you want to put your entire franchise in this guy's hands.
And you need a guy that believes in him.
Right.
too.
You need like a Mike McDaniel with Tua.
Yep.
Mike
Yes.
McDaniel changed the outlook of Tua's entire career.
Mm-hmm.
The outlook of his entire career. You need a guy who's going to work with Bryce Young. And to me, it's Ben Johnson or bust right now.
I'd say so.
Here's my thing. Who's the Houston Texans offensive coordinator?
Why am I blanking on his name? I heard it so many times this weekend, bro.
Okay. And he's young. This is the exact type
What's
of
his name?
Bobby Slowick.
Bobby Slowick, yes.
There's the type of hire that you want to make.
Yeah.
There's another type of hire that you want to make
Sure.
with how good he's been with CJ Stroud.
I mean, even look at what Stan Scheichen's doing with the Colts, bro.
But he's a head coach.
Right.
He got the job there.
Yeah.
But he
So-
was an OC. That's the way to do it, though.
Exactly. Well, that's where you need a hire now.
Yeah,
That's the thing. The new thing is get a young quarterback and pair him with a talented offensive coordinator, and it's that simple. Typically,
me-
you want to stay young.
To me, it seems like no matter what, no matter who this coach is that you go out and get this offseason, whether it's whoever this interim guy is, I doubt it will be. I'm sure it'll be someone else. Whoever it is, they have to last for the remainder of Bryce Young's rookie contract.
Yeah.
They have to.
Ideally.
David Tepper bought the team in 2018 with this new intern guy coming in, including all the interim head coaches. This is the 6th head coach.
Yeah.
6.
Yep.
He's owned the team since 2018. That's more head coaches in years he's owned the team. That's just a problem. It's a problem. And it's not just the owner. I'm just pointing out what has happened since he has owned the team.
No, but he has a
Because-
lot to do with it.
Right, because before that, they're 3 years removed from a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing, and me and
With
Lav
tons
texted
of young
about this.
talent.
Me and Lav texted about this today, and we said this reminds me so much of the Knicks situation in years past, where the owner can't help but get involved. And then eventually the Knicks hired a guy that was like, I'll take your job, but you need to shut the fuck up and stay out of my business. If you're going to hire me to take care of your team, oversee your team, stay out of it and I'll make you money. But you can't just tell these billionaires
It's so
that
hard
type
to
of
do
stuff
that.
when they made themselves billionaires, made themselves into what they are, and then they feel like every business investment that they make, they have to have some sort of
These
involvement in.
guys I think Spawn Hour said this on TikTok.
So-
Shout out him. I love his stuff. He said it's so hard because they see I've ran businesses. I've run many successful businesses. This is just a business. And it's just something they're not well versed in. But these billionaires, their egos are untouchable.
Yep.
Like you just.
As they should be.
Yeah.
As they should be. If I was a billionaire, I would have a crazy ego too.
Yes, and because
I'm not knocking him for that.
But there's always certain things that you don't know.
Right, but to be successful, you have to know when to delegate.
No, I agree
Yes.
with that. I'm just saying, like, I can't
Of course,
fault the
no,
guy
I'd
whose
have a
net
big ego
worth
too
is
if I-
20.6 billion for
Yeah, if
having an ego.
If
you
I
know?
ran probably multiple.
Owning a sports team isn't for everyone.
No,
No, it's not.
no, it's not.
You have to be able to put your pride to the side.
Yeah.
That's when
You
the
do and you
best
don't,
owners
because
come
like
out.
I'm sure he's still made a shit ton of money. Like he's accomplished what he wanted to.
Of course. I mean,
know?
look, sports teams in general, it's a great investment because inherently they're always
yeah.
going to increase in value because there's
Seymour
always
Cuban,
a market.
bro.
look at Cuban.
Bro,
he made
ridiculous.
what, $2 billion
Made
on
close to $3 billion.
He sold
And
for
he
$3 billion.
still
but he
has-
Still has
profited.
full control of best
Still
final
has
say.
full control of the team. It's not. He's insane.
Still has final say. I don't know how he does shit like this.
It's
He just
crazy,
left
too.
Shark Tank
He was
too.
just
Yeah.
on the All the Smoke podcast with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, and
Great
he was
pod.
yeah. They came with like
great pod.
you guys should watch that because they came with fucking phenomenal questions for this guy, like picking his brain and stuff. But they were talking about like the new TV deal and stuff, and Mark Cuban was talking about like, like I'm not really concerned for this one coming up. I think will be good, but the one after that, I don't know how it's gonna go. And he was kind of hinting at like, it might be time to like pull out and shit like that. And that podcast dropped like 5 days ago, and then he
Nice.
sells the team. So yeah, shout out
thing
Mark
is, like,
Cuban.
He's
Mark
a
Cuban-
brilliant
Mark
dude.
Cuban does something like that, and now there are at least some of the owners are thinking, "Oh, what does this guy see that I don't?"
That I don't.
Yeah.
Yep. He's always 5 to 10 steps
yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But that's
The
how you do
TV
that.
stuff is really interesting too, because TV ratings are so down, but
Yeah.
also professional sports are kind of one of the few things holding TV ratings up.
Yeah.
But also people stream, so the
Everything is
professional-
streaming services
right? So
now.
the professional sports want to be on streaming services, but also
They want
the-
cable ratings, yeah.
the live TV, the cable people need them, so
Yeah.
they'll give them whatever they want. The TV deal will be whatever they want. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Football is the one sport that I don't concern about in the slightest.
Yeah,
bit,
no,
though.
people are gonna sit and watch Sunday Night
Yeah.
Football.
No
on Fox.
matter
yeah.
what, it does not matter. Football ratings will always be
Super
ridiculous.
Bowl, Thanksgiving football, like you.
All right,
So-
because football is different than basketball.
Yeah.
Like during the week, there's going to be 3 primetime games in football. Basketball on a Tuesday night. Do I want to watch the Celtics Knicks on TNT when the Celtics are already up 30, or do I want to watch the last 5 minutes of the Hawks Pacers game that both teams have over 150
Yes.
points? That's on a streaming site.
Yes.
So, yeah, interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, the
So,
Panthers are fucked.
And that's
to circle back.
The Panthers are
Panthers
fucked.
are
It's over. I don't know how they fix this. Even if they do get Ben Johnson and T.
They
Higgins,
just they don't have a track record.
agree.
That shows they're gonna fix.
if you
this,
get Ben
know?
Johnson and T. Higgins, then what?
Here's my thing. If you're Ben Johnson, why
would you
the
wanna
fuck
go
would you
there?
take this job?
Right.
You have, because I could guarantee you right now, unfortunately, Eberflus, to no fault of his own, in my personal opinion, is going to get canned with Chicago. They're going to hire Ben Johnson. If they get the
I'd rather
opportunity,
be in Chicago.
if you're
than
Ben
in
Johnson,
Carolina.
bro, you get the first overall pick, the probably 4th overall pick. You get a team that has a bunch of young talent on it already. Bro, that is the best situation.
that's the place you want to go. Yeah.
In the NFL, if you're a future head coach,
Yeah.
you want to go to Chicago. Crazy enough to say that. You want to go to Chicago.
Yeah. Who thought we'd be saying
Especially
that?
because you're going to trade Fields this offseason, probably for like a 2nd-round pick or so. And then you're going to have another pick to deal with.
maybe trade one of the picks too.
You,
yeah.
Why would you go to Carolina when you have the opportunity to potentially go to Chicago? So, are you okay?
Yo, you good?
I think he just fell asleep and fell forward. I genuinely think that's what happened.
But yeah. So that
It's the
is
Carolina Panthers.
what I have to say about
Fuck.
the Panthers.
Shout out the Panthers. Shout out the Colts. Shout out the Packers. Probably the last time we talk about those 3 teams the rest of the season.
Probably.
But we did our due diligence. We
You know
talked
what?
about you.
Real quick, I do want to touch on it. I don't actually want to talk in depth, but Matt Canada gets fired,
It's so
and
funny.
all of a sudden the Steelers' offense looks like a fucking well-oiled
Some
machine.
jokes write themselves, man.
They didn't score a whole bunch of points, but they had a whole bunch of yards. So
Over 400. I know everyone knows this stat by now, but over 400 yards for the first time since Matt Canada did not get a single game in 53 games or something like that. Not a single game over 400 yards. The first game they fire him.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to them. I've been
Unbelievable.
preaching it about the Steelers for a few weeks, man. They've been getting that run game going. Najee Harris actually looks good,
Jalen Warren looked
way to
really good, too.
compliment.
Yeah.
It's lightning and thunder in that backfield,
is.
and having a run game the way they've had over the past 5-6 weeks, objectively is only going to open up the passing game. And then sticking the can in the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL in terms of scheming up a passing game is also only going to help. And that was evident. I don't know if this level of passing offense is sustainable.
I think it was phenomenal.
Pat Fryermuth averaging 9 receptions for a $120 is sustainable, but it was good to see.
The Steelers are the best at one thing, and it is drafting dramatic wide receivers. You guys see Deontay Johnson's antics?
Yes.
Did you see him not block at all on that play?
Yes.
And then he comes out in the interview and he was like, "Oh, I was blocking or whatever."
I
And it
really
just
don't know.
blatantly
It was
shows him
because
I don't
not
think too
blocking.
much about that though.
they
so
fumbled and
funny,
he didn't
though.
go. He just
He didn't go get
He
it.
didn't see the ball.
I honestly.
He didn't think he fumbled.
I honestly think
exactly.
he really didn't know. Bro, he was so dead just standing there. Like, no one does that. No one does that.
It was so funny.
No,
No
he
matter
had no idea.
how pissed you are, no
he
one
was
does
like, "I was
that.
blocking or whatever."
He had no idea. But
He
Pickett
just
was
clearly wasn't.
Pickett was good in this one. Pickett was definitely good in this one.
Good to
A lot
see.
of the throws were short, but it seemed like over the middle, down the seam, he was nailing some throws to Pat Fryermuth there.
That's all you need to do because, like I said, with a run game like this, that
Yes.
shit's gonna be there for
Yep.
you.
Exactly.
Shit's gonna be there for you.
Exactly.
There's a blueprint for the Steelers to win games.
Yeah.
Shout out the Steelers, man.
Shout out
They-
Pickett for looking like a fucking competent quarterback.
They just look like shit, but Mike Tomlin's gonna be over 500, bro.
Yeah, he's close to almost guaranteeing it now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's the NFL for week 12.
Woohoo!
There we
Alright.
go.
TikTok time.
TikTok time, indeed.
You want to start us off, Tom? You can go ahead.
Yeah. What did I have here? Oh, this is blind ranking NFL touchdown celebrations.
Let's go.
All right. Number 1, we have a New York classic. My favorite touchdown celebration of all time is the Victor Cruz salsa.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the
No, not yet.
the new
not yet.
Tommy. The
Not
new
yet.
Tommy
Yeah,
Selly.
whatever. That's what he called it. They were like, is that a what's
He's
up?
just like the
"Nah, it's an
high
A."
end. He's like, it's the high end.
The pass in Paisano, as
my
Pat
God.
McAfee calls him.
Um,
Cruz salsa, classic.
I'm not,
line ranking. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. This might be one. The first year I
Love
ever
it.
watched football was when Victor Cruz went crazy. Like,
Victor Cruz got me into football.
yeah,
as well.
I mean,
It's-
like,
yeah.
when the Giants went to the Super Bowl, my family, we all bought Giants jerseys.
Yep.
My mom bought a shirt that said Cruz on it. Like, that shit was crazy. He fucking scored a 99-yard touchdown on Christmas Eve, bro.
Yep.
Remember that against the Jets?
will
Of course I
never
do.
forget
Yeah.
Like,
One of the best
shit.
moments of my life. Him scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I busted out the salsa in my uncle's living room watching that Super Bowl.
It's crazy to put the first one at 1 in a blind ranking, though. But this one, I think this one's worthy.
I feel like there's only one that would top it for me, and that's Andre Johnson shooting himself in the leg.
That's not on here. I
Oh,
can tell you
shit.
that.
Shit, that would have been legendary.
Yeah, let's put it
I'll put it
one.
at 1.
I like it. I didn't think you guys were gonna put it at 1. I
T.O.
respect it.
Popcorn should be up there.
Next up is a guy who can have a list of his own. Chad Ochocinco proposing to a cheerleader.
Is there a video? Huh.
Yeah, look it up.
Oh, man, that's comedy, though.
It's pretty funny. Chad Ochocinco might have the most creative touchdown celebrations of all time.
He ran over there, took his helmet off, got on one knee.
Oh, that's crazy.
She said yes.
Oh, shit.
Man,
It's awesome.
It's not 1.
I'm going to put it at 3. I'm cool with 3, middle of the pack.
I'm happy that we put Cruz at 1, honestly. Yeah, it's 3.
3 is a good spot for that. Good stuff, Chad.
That is fire.
Number 3, we have Ezekiel Elliott jumping into the Salvation Army
Fucking
bucket.
knew that was coming. That's 2, bro. In my personal opinion, that's 2. The Salvation Army is a classic on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, for the memes, I'm cool with
Okay.
2 for
And
that
he,
one.
bro, he did it so fun.
Yeah, he
like,
did.
because then he popped
He
up.
popped out like
He popped up, bro. That was elite.
Yeah,
that was
that was
amazing.
good.
It has to be 2.
This next one, I love this one, and it's the Seahawks dancing the New Edition in the end zone when they have their whole routine.
Oh,
bro.
yeah, that's good,
I
too.
love
Oh,
That's
that's
good.
great.
I'm
love
honestly
it.
fine with putting that at 5 on this list, so.
Yeah.
That's a great
It's
celebration.
a great celebration.
But I think it deserves 5 on this list.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't know how you guys are gonna feel about your list, but Terrell Owens T-posing on the star in Arlington.
That was disrespectful.
It has to be
Fuck.
4. I would put that I'd probably put that 2 and then
Two,
bump
yeah.
our
Everything else down one.
yeah.
I would agree with that.
So
Yeah.
our list without the blind
solid,
ranking would be Cruz, T.O., Zeke, Ochocinco, Seahawks.
Yes.
And with the
But
blind
with the
ranking,
blind
we have
ranking.
T.O. at what, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty disrespectful.
That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
sad.
Yeah, that's
Because
so
his was so disrespectful.
Bro, he got bodied.
Yeah.
After
His
that.
was
It's awesome.
so disrespectful.
T.O. has another guy that could have a list of his own on these. Shout out to Terrell Owens, man.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Here we
that's
go.
mine, yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. This is going to be the battle of all the mid quarterbacks here. So I recently watched the video of the Sidemen because that's my favorite YouTubers there. And they did a keeper drop. So you have 10. In this case, it's going to be 10 quarterbacks. And you have to select 5 that you would keep from this list and 5 that you would drop from this list. You could base it on whatever you want. It's up to you guys. You guys could come up with whatever criteria you guys are going to come up with. But I'll give you the 10 now.
Wait, do like a TikTok hook.
Okay.
Keep or cut, NFL quarterbacks. You have to keep 5 and cut 5.
Okay, bet. Keep or cut, NFL quarterbacks edition. You have to keep 5 quarterbacks and cut the other 5. Here we go. All right. You guys are probably going to have to write this down.
Yep.
So, all right, here we go. Jordan Love, Geno Smith, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, Sam Howell,
Automatic keep.
Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield,
Don't do it to me.
Kenny Pickett. This last one was tough. I was between a few guys.
Fucking you.
Yeah, I can't put Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay. So
I
are we
wanted
doing
to
this
put
like
Anthony
together, or we're
Richardson.
each having our own list?
No, you guys.
I feel
get
like
to
we do
this
it together, but I think for the sake of editing the TikTok, you should. Now we have the list, so we could kind of do it in our head, but you should go one by one, and then we should decide if we're keeping or cutting.
So it's
You know what I'm
keep
saying?
five-
You should go down.
that's
the
Okay.
list.
All right, cool.
Keep 5.
Yeah.
Cut 5, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just say, are you keeping or cutting? Okay.
Just say like first up, we got Jordan Love.
All right, first up we have Jordan Love.
I think based on this list and the way he's playing right now, I think we got to keep Jordan Love.
I would agree. Yeah, yeah. He's had a few monster games. We talked about it. Yeah, we're keeping Jordan.
So are we gonna like lock this in, or as we go, can we like switch? Like if we decide, we
Yeah,
want
that's what I'm trying to look. I mean,
You'll get to make changes after.
All right.
I mean, I have 5 guys. I'm gonna,
If you guys feel differently after all of it, you say it. You just throw it out there.
yeah. Okay.
Next up, we have Geno Smith.
I know he hasn't been great this
Yeah.
season, but he's dealing with injuries. I think you have to still keep him based on what he did last year.
Based on what he did last year and the other names on this list, I think you have to keep Geno. Yeah.
Justin Fields.
Automatic cut. Easy cut.
Agreed. Yeah.
Oh fuck. Daniel Jones.
Automatic
Goodbye.
I knew it was happening.
Now
Adios.
played by a
I knew it
third
was
string
happening.
Italian rookie.
What do the kids say? Don't let the door hit you when Mother Nature split you.
I don't think any kids say that, but
Well,
people say that. Yeah.
Yeah, don't let the door hit you, Daniel Jones.
Yeah. You're
Cut.
fucking asshole.
Sam Howell.
Keep.
Cut. No, I'm playing. You keep him.
We're keeping Sam Howell
keeping
leading
Sammy.
the league in passing yards. Come
Keeping
on,
Sam
man.
Howell. Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
Wait. So I'm sorry. We've kept Geno, Jordan.
Currently,
and Howell?
Jordan Love, Geno Smith, and Sam Howell have been kept.
I think we got to keep Deshaun.
Gotta.
I would keep
Based
Deshaun.
on the other names.
Based on the other names, I think we have
Yeah,
to.
we'll keep Deshaun.
You know what? I kind of want to get rid of the last guy. Jimmy Garoppolo
yeah.
is too fucking easy of a cut.
Okay.
I'm going to replace Jimmy with Anthony Richardson.
Oh, shit. Well, that makes things difficult because
Exactly.
Anthony Richardson's potential.
I'm cutting Watson, man.
With that in mind now, because I think you're still going to keep Love, Geno, and Howell, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. You wouldn't remove them for Watson?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll leave that there. It's Richardson now.
I think I'd still keep Watson just because I've seen him. I know he isn't that same guy, but I've at least seen him play at an elite level.
I get it. I would cut Watson. I just don't trust him anymore. But
Yo.
yeah.
The Chargers right there. This wire. This gray wire.
Oh, I don't want to get copyrighted.
You gotta pull it
I was
around.
gonna sing the
It's-
Jeopardy music.
No, you can
but-
sing it.
Nah,
You're allowed
nah,
to
I
sing.
can't, I can't.
Sorry.
No free promo.
Brief intermission.
Don't worry, guys.
It's on the left side. Yeah, maybe move the table a little bit. Oh shit.
What's about to die?
My computer. Come on, Nick. He's good. He's good.
It's raw footage,
There we go.
ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
All right, sick.
So we're still up to Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Okay. I think we have to keep Deshaun Watson just because we've seen him play at an elite level that the other guys haven't played at.
I think Deshaun Watson fucking sucks now, but sure, we'll keep Deshaun Watson.
I mean,
This season, I'm keeping Baker over Watson.
all right, fine. We could cut Deshaun Watson.
Okay, so
I'm
next up, Derek Carr.
He's gone.
cutting Derek Carr.
Love Derek Carr, but yeah, he's gone.
Baker Mayfield.
I'm keeping Baker. That's 4, right?
Yeah.
That's 4.
Yeah.
I'll keep Baker
Baker.
too. Yeah, he's playing not elite, but he's
No.
getting the job done.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett.
Adios.
Yeah, cut Kenny.
And finally, Anthony Richardson.
Keep Anthony Richardson.
Keep it Anthony Richardson for the potential.
All right. so
Baker has also taken a team to the playoffs.
That's
I
true.
want to say.
That's true.
You know?
all right. So the 5 that you're keeping: Jordan Love, Geno Smith, Sam Howell, Deshaun. No. Sorry,
Oh.
Baker Mayfield, and Anthony Richardson. The 5 that you're cutting: Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr, and Kenny Pickett.
I
Yeah.
think we did a good job.
I think we did too.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Would you change anything?
Don't say it, man. Got to keep
No,
Sam
no
Howell.
way you cut Sam Howell.
No, I'm not cutting Sam
That's
Howell.
what I said.
Sam Howell wasn't even consideration to get cut. Yeah, he wasn't even. Nah, I actually I think I'd agree. I think I'd agree with that. I was hoping you guys would maybe make it a little more difficult with Anthony Richardson. So, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's tough because there's so many quarterbacks that like those are all most of the mid quarterbacks in the NFL, but it's pretty clear who are the upper mid
yeah.
quarterbacks
That's
in the
what I- that's
NFL.
what I
Like
say.
that's what I got out of that.
Baker
so.
Deshaun is a conversation, but Deshaun's just been he's had like a good half of football where he's looked really good.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
Baker hasn't done, a ton either, but
and it was against Tennessee, who ain't
yeah,
shit.
exactly.
So yeah. All right. Do we have a?
I have 2.
Okay.
All right. Which NFL cornerback would you rather have based on their stats? So, player A has 1 interception. He's allowing a 62.7 reception percentage. He's allowed 420 yards. He's allowing 13.1 yards per reception. He's allowed 2 touchdowns. And he has a 66.8 PFF coverage grade. These stats are according to PFF.
Cool.
Player B has 3 interceptions. He's allowing a 50% reception rate. He's allowed only 162 yards, 8.1 yards per reception, 1 touchdown, and he has a 90.4 coverage grade.
I mean,
It's
think
so
it's-
funny because obviously the player A is supposed to be the better player, but he's
kind of how these work.
yeah, of course.
You've cracked the code.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this ain't even
That
close.
being said,
This ain't even close.
I'm gonna take player B.
Yeah, I'm gonna take player B.
Player A is Pat Surtain, and player B is my boy, Jalen Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Had a big game last night, 2 picks.
Jalen
Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson-
He dropped the
having a-
pick 6 too, I
Yeah.
think.
He's had a year,
balling, bro. He's balling.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson's unbelievable, and he's
He
a
was-
free agent.
He was my NFC North breakout candidate.
He's a free
All right.
agent.
And that's why we do this.
Which running back would you rather have based on their season stats?
Chasing the views, love it.
So player A had 1,880 rushing yards, 5.1 yards per carry, and 27 rushing touchdowns. Receiving, he had 15 receptions for 78 yards and 1 touchdown.
What fucking crackhead? has 27 touchdowns.
Player B had 2,097 rushing yards, 6 yards per carry,
Oh, I know who this is.
12 rushing touchdowns, And through the air, he had 40 receptions for 217 yards and also 1 touchdown.
I want to guess player A was Sean Alexander and player B was Adrian Peterson. With that being said, I'm taking player B. That's without even me I'm not just picking the player. I'm picking the numbers. Adrian Peterson. I'm taking player B.
It's tough. 27 touchdowns is a ton of touchdowns.
It's a lot. Almost 30.
They both won MVP?
Give a shit about
No.
receiving. I'll take player A.
So you were right, Matt. Player A was 05 Sean Alexander, and player B was 2012 AP, and they did indeed both win MVP.
Yeah.
Insane stats for both of them.
Ridiculous. numbers,
27
bro.
rushing touchdowns.
Ridiculous.
Man had
What are you
15
on?
catches that year, too. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Bonkers.
On, bro.
He's
You
pulling a
average
Derrick
almost
Henry
2
there.
touchdowns a
Bonkers.
game.
Yeah.
He's pulling a Derrick Henry there, pretty much.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's nuts. Those are some insane stats.
Yeah, did he? I just want to make sure. He had to have scored in every game, right?
He probably had 2-3 touchdown games.
No,
and then
imagine
one
he
where
just had
didn't have
13 in one game and 14 in another.
I want to check real quick. I just want to make
Historic.
sure.
Do we want to do this QB injured QBs?
Yeah, we're making good time.
Okay, hold up. Let me go through this
We
again.
don't even have to try. It's always a good time.
2005.
We're gonna get copyrighted now because of you.
Ah, what are you gonna do?
Let me see, because this is kind of tough. There's some quarterbacks
He
that
didn't. He didn't score in week 1 actually,
What a
wow,
and week 7.
nice. What was the highest total he had in a game? 4?
4 in
Imagine
week 6.
having him on your fantasy team. He doesn't score.
But
Week
the 2
1,
weeks he
you're,
doesn't score,
trade him.
bro.
That'd be. Can I include Kyler in this?
Sure.
What is this again that we're doing?
haven't
Blind
seen it.
ranking all the injured quarterbacks. But I'm not gonna give you guys 8 of them. I'm gonna pick 5 of them.
Yeah, but if we're blind ranking injured quarterbacks, shouldn't we blind rank
Injured
quarterbacks that are
quarterbacks?
injured?
Yeah, if it's a blind rank, yeah.
That are currently injured
Not playing football.
at the current moment.
Right? No?
Yeah, but then that limits the list.
Right.
All right, forget it. Scrap it. We ain't even gonna bother. There's not.
It's just I'm taking Kyler Murray over Aaron Rodgers
Because his
right now.
Achilles is okay.
No, I'm not saying right.
I don't know.
I'm saying who would
If
you
we're blind
take?
ranking injured quarterbacks, we should blind rank.
I'm gonna take the
Injured
guy that
quarterback.
isn't in the hospital.
Yeah. In terms of injured quarterbacks,
Thanks,
I'm going to
Tom.
go with the one who isn't injured.
All right, sick. All right, never mind.
There's not 5
Do you
quarterbacks
not
that
have
are
5
injured this year.
quarterbacks?
There are, but it's just they're
Obvious.
fucking obvious with who
We're
you're,
not.
with
We're
where
not
you're-
even thinking of it. Well, now I am. Now I'm thinking
Oh yeah,
of it.
now I got.
Yeah,
I got
fuck
2 or
it. It's
3.
scrapped. It's scrapped.
It's all right.
There would still leave.
Get him next time.
What?
would s-
Rodgers, Kirk, Richardson,
5, 6, 7. That leaves 7.
Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones.
That leaves
5.
7 people. So
Daniel Jones is 6, honestly.
I mean, we could do it if you want.
all right, fuck it. You know what? We're gonna do it then.
We're doing all 7, or are you gonna pick 5?
No, I'll pick 5.
All right, do the hook.
I'll pick 5. Blind rank these injured quarterbacks without knowing which one comes next. Okay.
Except you pretty much know which one's coming next.
All right. Kirk Cousins.
2.
Well, we know Rodgers is gonna be 1. So yeah, I think 2 is a good spot for Kirk.
Yep.
Are we missing somebody though?
Next
Somebody
up,
important?
Deshaun Watson.
Fuck. So Rodgers is 1, Kirk is 2. Put Watson 4. Yeah,
That works.
Watson 4.
Okay. Anthony Richardson.
3.
Put A Rich at 3.
AR is 3.
We fucked up though. I think.
Okay.
I think we're missing someone.
Daniel Jones.
5.
Daniel Jones at 5.
Yeah.
You know who your number 1 quarterback is?
Not Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, fuck. I sold because he's not injured anymore. It was going to be Ryan Tannehill,
Brr.
but he's back.
Oh, you sold.
All right, you guys won. Joe Burrow.
I'm gonna put Joe Burrow at 1, and I feel pretty good about that.
Well, there you go.
We cooked.
So your order was Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, Anthony Richardson, Deshaun Watson, and Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Shout out Danny Dimes for making the most money on that list.
Is that?
Does he?
No, Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow makes more?
Probably.
Right now?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, and then
Oh, Kirk makes a lot too.
Kirk doesn't make more than Danny.
Shout out for Danny for
think-
making a stupid amount of money.
To sit his
Yeah,
ass.
He
bro.
robbing a franchise.
You know,
Thanks, buddy.
it's not his fault. It's not his
It's not all
fault.
his fault.
It's not all his fault. There you go. All right. Well, this one was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check out all those other videos that we've posted recently. Follow us on all of our socials, all that good stuff. Are we doing our usual ad?
Oh yeah, we could do the ad reads.
Go for it. Start us off.
Shout out to our partners over at Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy is the best daily fantasy sports game on the market. They have pick'ems, they have draft lobbies. You could do everything on Thrive Fantasy. And when you use code BallGamePod, they will match your first deposit up to $250. Again, that's code BallGamePod for a first-time deposit match up to $250. It's free money. Go sign up for Thrive Fantasy.
You know, you're going to see a trend here, back to back. We partnered up with the best ticketing app on the market in SeatGeek. Obviously, they grade each deal on a scale of 1 to 10, with green being a good deal and red being a bad deal. So you obviously want to be on the lookout for all those green deals. The NFL season is coming to a close. You want to go check out that playoff race with a bunch of the teams that we've already listed. Go check out SeatGeek, buy some of those tickets. Go wherever the hell you want to go. If you use code BallGamePod on your first purchase with SeatGeek, you get $20 off. Again, code BallGamePod for $20 off your first purchase with SeatGeek. Big shout out to everyone over there. As I said, once again, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all of our socials, all that good stuff. And with that,